Okay, in this lesson, we'll take a look at how to work with tables. Just so you are aware, tables have been around since roughly 2007 and have really started to gain some traction over the past few years. Now, to be candid, some people are very pro tables, others not so much. When you first start working with tables, you might feel like, meh, big deal. But once you start working with such things as pivot tables and having to connect multiple lists together, you'll find out that tables are very useful. So let's start at square one and explain what exactly are tables. Well, on a very fundamental level, tables combine or roll up freeze panes, sorts, filters, adding new calculations, and rows of data all into one package. Think of it as like a fancy one-stop shop. Let's create a table and you'll see all the stuff come together. To create our table, let's click inside the list, then go up and click on Insert, Table. With this prompt, we'll click OK. So right here is our table. Maybe a little hard on the eyes, we can fix that. But for right now, let's take a look at a few things. If you're familiar with sorting, we can click the drop arrow here and then choose Sort A to Z, and that column will become sorted. By chance you're not familiar with sorting, sorting is nothing more than alphabetizing your list. The other thing we can do from this drop arrow is filter our list. So if you're familiar with filtering, you know what to do. If not, filtering is nothing more than saying, I want to see a portion of my list. So click the drop arrow at the top of the column and then go right down here and you can check and uncheck the pieces you want to see. Next, another cool feature with tables is that when you scroll down, Excel will always keep your column headings visible. And that's cool because it alleviates a lot of aggravation when you scroll through big lists. Next, let's talk about the formatting of your table. If you want to change the way it looks, we can click Table Design, and then over here where it says Table Style, we can click the drop arrow, let our mouse glide over the choices, and we can pick the one we want. For this demo, I'll leave the default as is. Now, here's where the cool stuff comes into play. Let's say we have to add some calculations to our table. Perhaps we have to multiply the quantity sold by the unit price. We can start off by typing our new field name. Let's call it sales. Once we press the Enter key, you notice that Excel will adapt the new field to the table, which is pretty cool. From here, we can build our formula and do something like this. We can type out equal, click on our quantity, multiply that by our unit price. Then when we press Enter, you'll notice that Excel will automatically copy down the formula. How cool is that? Major time saver. And we can keep going. Let's say we want to add another field called profit. We can type our field name. Excel will automatically add that field to our table. Then we can build our formula by typing out equal, click our sales, minus our expenses. And just a quick finer point, tables use something called a structured reference, which is really a fancy way of saying Excel will show you the field names as opposed to the cell references in your formula. From here, we'll press Enter, and oh my gosh, look at that. Next, going with the theme of calculations, there's an option called Total Row. You can see it right here. When you check this box, Excel will add a new row to the end of your table. And when you click in that row, you'll see little drop arrows. Those little drop arrows will give you access to different types of calculations. And from here, it's just a matter of picking and choosing the type of calculation that you want to use. For example, here is the sum of our profits and the average sales. If we go up and uncheck Total Row, that will remove it. If we click in the lower right-hand corner of our table and press our Tab key, it will give us a new row. We can type in brand new data if we wanted to. Moving on, let's talk about something called a slicer. Think of the slicer as being a filter 2.0. The slicer behaves the exact same way as a filter. It is just a lot easier to use. Let's take a look. Up here, we'll click on Insert Slicer, and that will give us a list of our fields. Let's keep it simple and choose Country. Click OK. Let's resize it if we need to. And from here, it's just a matter of clicking on the buttons for the country that we want to see. If we want to clear things out and bring everything back, just click the funnel icon with the red X on it, and that will reset our list. By chance, we want to see multiple countries. If we hold down the Control key while we click on the buttons, Excel will then show us the multiple countries that we've selected. Going one step further, we can add multiple slicers if we wanted to. So we can go up here and click on Table Design, Insert Slicer, And let's choose customer source. And we are off to the races. Just click on different combinations of buttons to your heart's delight. If you want to get rid of a slicer, just click on it and press your delete key, and that will remove it. Moving on, let's talk about how to rename a table. On the surface, this may seem a little impractical, yet as you move forward with your Excel career, you'll find out it's a very common practice, and it comes in very handy when you have to connect more than one list or table together. To change the table name, first click in the table, then in the upper left-hand corner where it reads Table Name, you can click up there and type in your name. Just a few quick finer points. Number 1, table names cannot have spaces, so you can use an underscore as a substitute. And then number 2, if you have multiple tables in your spreadsheet, it's a good idea to give the tables unique names. And to wrap up this lesson, let's talk about how to remove a table. If you ever want to get rid of your table, first click inside your table, and then up here it reads Convert to Range. That's just code for Remove My Table. When we click that, Excel will come back and ask us, just click yes, and now we're back to normal. The only drawback is the residual formatting. If we'd want to clear that, we'd have to select everything, and then go to the Home tab and choose Clear Formats, and then maybe reformat a few things. But else, that should be enough to get you through tables, and we will see you in the next lesson.